In this video, we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So if you look at the first example here, there is a term 2x outside the bracket. Within the bracket, there are two terms, x plus 3. So the 2x is going to multiply into the first and the second term. This is called distributive property. Distributive property. And you learned this in your grade 9. Okay, so what happens here? So here, we look for the sign, number, and variable. So we first handle the signs, positives and negatives. And after we do that, we move on to the coefficients. We call them numbers here, numbers. And then finally, we handle variables like the x and y's and a's and b's and so on. So that is the order in which we do this. Now, this is not a mathematical rule, but it is a rule of thumb, a kind of heuristic process where you can get things done in an order so you make far less mistakes that way. Okay, so here, 2 positive, all these terms are positive. The 2 is positive here, there is a positive 1 here, there is a positive 3 here. So because you're multiplying all positives, we don't worry too much about the sign. So here we have a 2, there is a 1 there, so 2 times 2 is 1, x to the times x is a x squared. In the second bracket, 2 times 3 is a 6, and that is an x. So here we have to, again, for the second example, think about sign, number, variable. We are going to multiply the one that is outside the term with the 3 terms in the bracket. So the first multiplication, we get negative 3x power 4. In the second one, we are multiplying a negative with a negative, so that turns out to be a positive. 6x to the power 3. Notice here we are using exponent laws. X squared multiplied by x squared, we have to add the 2 on the 2, and that's how you get a 4. And then for the second multiplication, there is a square there, there is a 1 here, so 2 plus 1 is a 3, and finally you have negative 3x squared. What if you have two brackets? Well, first we use the x, multiply into the other x, and then like so. So you will get x squared plus 4x. Then we multiply the negative 1. Remember, the sign goes with the number, and you get negative x. And then you multiply the negative 1 into the 4, negative 4. Putting them all together, we have x squared. 4x take away x is a 3x, and then a negative 4. Same idea in the next example that we have here. So here what we do is we have two choices. We can first multiply the negative 3 into the bracket, the first bracket, and then multiply the whole thing into the second bracket. But I choose to do it slightly differently. Either way, you will get the same answer. So what I'm doing is now I'm going to open up the bracket like this. So x times 2x, you get 2x squared, and x times 5, you get a 5x. And now multiply the negative 3 into that, you get a negative 6x. And then multiply the negative 3 into the 5, you get a negative 15. Close the bracket. Now simplify everything inside the bracket. You have 2x squared, 5, and then you're taking a 6 away. That'll give you a negative, and then 15. Now go ahead and multiply the negative 3 into the bracket like so. Negative 6x squared plus 3x plus 45. Coming to the last example, you're going to do what you did in number 3, question number 3. You're going to do them with the first two brackets there. Then you're going to do the same thing for the the other two brackets, and once you get them both, you're going to subtract them. So it's going to be a bit long, but still it's simply doable. So here we go. So we multiply and multiply. So you get x squared plus x, multiply, multiply, minus x minus 1. Okay, let's do the second multiplication. I'm opening a bracket here because there is a negative sign, and that negative signs for everything inside the bracket, so it's a good idea to open up a bracket for that anytime you see a negative. So multiply those two, you get 2x squared negative 4x, you get 3x, and you get negative 6. Simplify the terms from here. You have x squared. The negative x and positive x cancels out, so all you have is this. And inside this bracket, you have 2x squared negative x minus 6. In the next step, we carry over the first two terms. We open up the bracket with this negative 1 there. So you get negative 2x squared plus x plus 6. And so you end up with grouping terms now. We have to group these two x squared terms. You get x squared there. And then we have to write the x term that we have, which is just the x term coming from there. And finally, grouping the negative 6 and adding a negative 1, adding a 6 to it, you get a negative 5. Okay, make good notes from here and see you in the next video.